Hello, everyone. Wes Gao here, Cardinal Coaching Solutions. So glad to see you here again. It's a gorgeous, I'm going to give you my usual weather update here. It's October. It's a beautiful day here in the Mid-Atlantic. We're finally getting temperatures that start with numbers other than 9. Hallelujah. In fact, later this week, we'll get into temperatures that start with the number 7, which is like heaven on earth. For me personally, hope you are well wherever you are, wherever you're joining. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, let me make sure that I capture this real quick. I've been saying it throughout this year, but this is the year of the 2021 Self-Care Summit hosted by the amazing Liz Garrett. This could be the best time of year for you to check that out. We're coming up on a lot of transition season. We're coming up on holiday season. Gift yourself, prepare for this time of year. Could be a great time to check that out. I'll make sure that there's a link here in the show notes. So really encourage you to do that. Okay. I want to dive into something that's been, per usual, just really top of mind for me. And I'm pulling from a few different sources. And so the first one, I'm going to start with a parable that I first heard a teacher by the name of Rob Bell, Bell. He has a wonderful podcast. He's a deep thinker, a very spiritual guy, and just has a great aura and energy about him. So he told this parable, and I don't know if he came up with it. I don't know where he got it. I heard it years ago, and it's just stuck with me. So I may butcher it if you're familiar with more of the details. But I'm just going to give kind of a quick overview of it. So there's a teacher who goes to a faraway land in search of respite, in search of retreat, in search of just reconnection with themselves. And this particular location that they travel to is a castle. So they're going to stay there at the castle. Maybe it's a silent retreat. Imagine something like that. So the first morning, the teacher decides that they're going to wake very early in the morning and they're going to walk the castle grounds in the silence and in the solitude. And of course, much of the terrain is unfamiliar. And in the darkness before dawn, the teacher comes around a corner of the castle, and out from an alcove in the castle, hidden in the darkness, steps a guard. And the guard asks, "Who are you? What do you want?" The teacher states their business, they're staying at the castle, why they've come, where they're from, and the guard, of course, lets them pass. The next morning, the teacher decides to do the same thing, go through the same routine, walk the castle grounds very early, silence, solitude, meditation. And the same thing happens. They come around an alcove, and out steps the same guard. And he asks the same questions. Who are you? What do you want? The teacher reaffirms their identification, what they're here for, that kind of thing. Guard lets the teacher pass. And on the third morning, the teacher does the same thing. Castle grounds, darkness, maybe imagine fog over the area, dew on the grass. And the same thing happens. The same alcove and the same guard and the same two questions. Who are you? What do you want? And at this point, the teacher asks the guard, "Sir, what are your wages?" Now imagine the guard being stunned by that. They've probably never been asked something like that. But the guard stated their wage. And the teacher said, "I will triple your earnings if you will travel home with me to my land and ask me those same two questions every morning for the rest of my life. Who are you? What do you want?" Now, if anyone listening knows more details about where that parable came from, I would love to hear them. Shoot me an email, Wes, W-E-S, @cardinalcoachingsolutions.com. I've never forgotten that. I think that's profound. Who are you? What do you want? Now, the second thing I'm pulling from is from this book that I'm currently reading. It's called Letting Go. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's a very academic book, but there's one part in particular. I don't mean academic in a way, I don't mean to poo-poo it by any means. It's deep and it's detailed, which is what I like. Letting go. And there's a phrase in this book early on that I came across. I've heard it before. I haven't heard it said this way, but I've heard it before. It's connected to something like The Secret, if you've ever seen that movie. But the author said this, and again, I don't even think this is the author's original thought. I think this is more like the law of attraction. I think something like that. But he said this: what is held in the mind tends to manifest. You've probably heard something like that before. What is held in the mind tends to manifest. Okay, so we got this parable of the teacher. Who are you? What do you want? We have this quote here. What is held in the mind tends to manifest. Okay, maybe we're starting to see some connections there. So for me, those two items have been weighing on me. Now, the third portion here comes from a coach and a teacher by the name of Dominic Scaffidi. Brilliant individual. The kind of energy that if you could just capture and put it in a bottle, I would want it. I would want to spray it on me like a perfume or something every day. It's just beautiful soul, beautiful energy. Dominic Scaffidi. I'll include a link here to his work as well. Brilliant guy. And years ago, I listened to a podcast. So all of this has been building for me for a long time, but probably 2 years ago, I listened to a podcast that he was on, and where he was really starting to put some hooks into this law of attraction, which I had heard about before, but never given really much thought to. And what he said was this, a very succinct way of capturing the previous quote of remember, what is held in the mind tends to manifest. Dominic said this: what you appreciate appreciates. What you appreciate appreciates. And he went on to describe, this is the key phrase I'm going to capture from Dominic. He described applying density of thought to what you want. That's the key. At least that's what's been really marinating for me. Density of thought to what you want. So step one, I'm not a huge big fan of steps, but just go with me here. Get clear on what you want. I have to do that all the time. Not just what I want for me, what I want for my marriage, what I want 60 to look like, what I want my daughters, what I envision, what my soul longs for them, for their future, for their spouses, for their education. I've even done this with, I'm looking over here for those of you just listening in. I'm looking on the other side of my computer because this is the first episode in which Captain, he's napping right now, has been, he's not in his crate. So he's doing a good job. He's chilling out over there. But I have thought that for what I envision, the kind of dog, the kind of spirit that I envision for him, what do I want? Get clear on that. Maybe you have to start the process by getting clear on what you don't want. Maybe you've identified other situations and other contexts, and you've just had a spiritual reaction to no, that's not me. That's not going to be me. I don't want that. So then reframe it into this is what I want. And then step 2 is allow time to apply density of thought to that. And this is the big conviction for me. The enemy of density of thought is right here. I'm holding up my phone. I'm holding up everything that represents distraction, technology. The irony here is, of course, that you're listening, or watching this. And so, of course, personally, I hope that I continue to pass through the threshold of what you will allow in and partake in hopes that it's good energy. But there's so much in our lives right now that distracts from density of thought to what you want. Get clear on what you want. Apply density of thought to it. That's my encouragement to you today. Be well. Thanks so much for stopping in. If anything you've heard is something that you would like to dig deeper into, shoot me an email. That's what I love to do. That's my work. Wes, W-E-S, at cardinalcoachingsolutions.com. Be well. Happy fall for those of you here listening in the Northern Hemisphere. And we will do this again soon.